but we do have Q also here with us today. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hollow Earth Discovered. Thank you so much to Don and his crew for bringing this about for all of us. And today, obviously, is February the 18th, 2023. Who would have thought we'd be here still? But anyways, that's a long story. But with that being said, we have our wonderful, glorious, loving, beloved Q Source with us today. And it'll be an amazing call. So hang on to your seats. Here we go. And hello there, beloved Q.
Jane, thank you again for this unbelievable invitation. My great love to you, star beings of light who are listening to us. How silly can I be? Love it, love it, love it. Can't believe you're still here.
Great. Yeah,
I thought
really.
you were going to do this. I thought you were going to do this ascension thing.
Well, yeah, I suppose that was key to it as well. So maybe we'd like to get started with you, if we will. We only have 2 hours, so we would like to have it more hours, but that's okay. And we'll go ahead and let you take over from here with your beautiful lyrics and song as we play and have fun on this show. Thank you so much, Q.
You betcha.
Source. Thank you.
I love starting off with a way to create the dialogue that I'm inspired to chat about today. So that's really the purpose of me starting this way. If you hadn't noticed, encouragement and so forth as we move on. And here we go. My Love is Forever is the title of this song. You're always on my mind, day and night, of course, baby. All the time, all the time. You mean so much to me. A love like ours, just hard to be. You're the wind and the rain. You've got a river that takes away my pain. And the sky that's oh so blue. You're everything. Don't you know? I need you. I need you. You're the only thing that keeps us going. You're the only thing that keeps my love alive. You, all of you, are the only thing I'll ever need. You don't have to worry. You see, my love is forever. I don't have to dream because you give me what I need. You know what I need. Forever, until my love is through, I will be in a state. I love you. Oh, what does it take to make you see that you are the only one for me? I'll never, never stop loving you. Never, never stop wanting you. Never, never get enough of you. Love is forever. You're the only thing that keeps me going. You're the only thing that keeps my love alive. You're the only thing that I'll ever need. You don't have to worry. As love, my love is forever. And that is the beautiful lyrics by Prince, My Love is Forever. I hope that's a good start.
Wow. Sure is. That is so beautiful. Amazing being he was as well. But thank you so much for that. What a beautiful way to start our call. Understanding and feeling that love that we are with you. So I know you have a wonderful time wherever you go. And talking about time, I think you are going to be speaking today regarding this vast subject of timelines. So I guess my question for you, beloved Source, is how would you like to proceed with the topic of timelines? Thank you.
Well, let's see. Hey, weren't you supposed to call me last night?
Was that last night?
So last night you were supposed to call me. How come you didn't call me last night, by the way?
I didn't know we were supposed to call.
Hang on a second.
Oh, okay.
Barbara! Jane's in denial that she's supposed to call me. I know, what a bitch. So, Jane, why didn't you call me?
I forgot. I'm sorry.
Barb, she said she forgot. Call your mom. Call your mom. Tell her we're not going to do this crap anymore. So you didn't want to call me last night because
You know what?
apparently too busy, huh?
I got, just time just flew.
Did it? Okay. So all right, great. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm going to write an email and text my friends about you, and then we'll go from there. See how this works out. This entertainment industry thing is kind of getting old anyway. Kind of tired of being an entertainer. I thought we were going to get some spiritual work done, but nobody calls me back. And so anyway, I'll have to jump on another crowd of spiritual workers, light workers, see if they can get their shit together, because no one's calling me back over on this side. Okay. So you want to talk about timelines?
Oh, if you will. Yeah, talking about time. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect beginning.
Okay.
Thank
So
you
of course
so much.
thank you for allowing this. This so contraire. The energy you have given towards me, all of the fans, the love they've given me, whether it's love gifts or otherwise, I couldn't do it without you. The more you pull on me, the more we help our fellow man, the more we help each other, et cetera, et cetera. It's just amazing how we all pull together with great aspirations for one another, and I cherish it, and I love it, and I thank you so much, Jane. I thank you so much.
Well, I think we want to say thank you. I just feel like I'm one of those facilitators, right? And but what you are all about and what you bring to us is really magnanimous. So thank you for continuing to do this for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm taking the opportunity to explain to you how timelines work in the example of a standardized human condition. So that was the purpose of being belligerent to start with, and show you how subtle the dark works in timelines, and design timelines designed you for timelines. And I know it's tough information, and please take what you want from me and throw away what you don't. And so parents, are going to have a couple topics here that are going to have us looking in different directions. So I just want to make you aware of that. I know we get some kids listening, and they're the first people that we should be handing the baton off to anyway. So it's up to you, parents. Anyway, so let's examine the timeline we just created when you didn't call me. By the way, for the record, I was supposed to call Jane last night, so that's what makes this even better. Okay, so now I got an emotion from my head from the past in the example I gave that said to me internally, Jane was supposed to call me. I waited. She didn't call me. I'm getting pissed. I got things I got to do. There's things I want to bounce off her. Jane didn't call. Why did she call? Okay, fine. She's got her own reasons. She's busy, whatever. But I really need to get this stuff done. Okay, so let's just take that pocket of information based on my observation and our statement. That is the dark. Okay, because it's initiated from the past and memory. It's very, very important to recognize timelines as being so delicate from the day you were born. They're difficult to tell the difference between emotion that comes from your head, past memory, past experience, and one that comes from the heart. If I was to standardize, some of this information gets a little redundant, so bear with me. I want to make sure we get some of this subject matter so we can actually use it day in and day out. But essentially, I just carried an emotion that occurred to me the night before to today. And that's what the dark wants you to do. So anytime I concede that emotion, doubt, fear, guilt, anger, all those are generated from outside of yourself. So when we observe a legacy feeling, that's actually recorded in you epigenetically. So we live in an epigenetic being that has recorded in the NATO all of your genetic history. So, like it or not, you actually act a lot like 10 generations ago, great grandpa, because you're a living, walking tree, and so that pattern recognition is absorbed from generation to generation. Again, this is just information. Keep it if you want. We're using a language that is almost impossible to explain how source works, and it's designed so we can't talk about. If we were going to start talking about ascension as an example, it'd probably take 6 months with the English language. So anyway, just know that everything's in a summary here, and most of these topics deserve a deeper dive, but just so we can get it on the table here. Anyway, so I've harbored an emotion from the past. I now brought it to current time, and or is still in the past because now the conversation's over. Now I went in it, and so we're going to see the layers between etheric and intrinsic darkness and how it comes into play. And again, we talked about the 3 layers for the ease conversation: etheric, intrinsic, and galactic. And I only use these words for the ease of efficiency. They're much broader than their titles because, we're using the English language. In any event, so now Jane is affected by my emotion from last night. I brought it forward. Now Jane is going to absorb it. She's going to discredit it. She's going to erase it. Now, when you are present and out of time, so this is a timeline, when you're in real time, that statement would not affect you. How come you didn't call me last night? Now, the reason the timelines are so effective with this type of human is because as I raise my voice and I get more stern, you're seeing the power of God. You're all gods. And as you raise your voice, the emotions and the frequency echo throughout the etheric, intrinsic, and galactic world. Now, don't they? A little different now, isn't it? I thought you were just late making a phone call, but now we got a big deal here because we're starting to yell. We're really mad at each other, whatever the drama might be. Doesn't really matter. It's still a timeline. You can't. So anything from the past in relationship to reactive creativity is what you might consider, this is the way I would title it, a negative timeline, because Jane was not expecting to be called a bitch, number one. Number two, she wasn't late. I was supposed to call her. And so now Jane will have a choice now to say, Q, I think it was you who was supposed to call me, and now it's on. So now we will argue about who was supposed to call who and what have you. And then, all right, so now we hang up the phone, and Jane goes over to Billie and goes, goddamn Q, I tell you what, he told me I was going to call him and he was going to call me. He was supposed to call me. Okay, so now I'm out of the picture. Jane and Billie are talking trash about Q. Okay? And this is how the dark works. Now we have a timeline, an emotional baggage timeline outside of what would be real time. Now we have a timeline created that's still going. Billie, what am I going to do? Are we going to work with Q in the future? He doesn't call us back. He's supposed to call us back. It's really weird too. I don't know if I want to call him back. Okay, so now you get the names, titles, identity. And that is the purpose of identity, is to create timelines. These are not theories. You can look at it however you want, but you're not a human. You're a spirit. You're a God expressing yourself in the explanation of a human and or the experience of a human. So here we are with Jane and Billie. Now they're fighting because Billie says to Jane, I find Q to be very pleasant. He's a very pleasurable person. I don't know where you come from. Can you just cut him some slack? No, Billie, I don't like Q. He called me names, and he's in denial that he was supposed to call me. I don't know if I want to talk to him. Never mind. I don't want to talk to you, Billie. You know what? I'm going to coffee with my girlfriend. Okay, so now Jane goes to coffee with her girlfriend, and it's Rhonda. Rhonda and Jane go, yeah, how's your day going? Oh, sucks. I just got a big fight with Billie. She's pissed at me because what Q did to me. That Q was telling stories about how I was late. I didn't call it. We're not going to beat this thing to death here, but you see how it continues on, the ripple effect in the dark, and this is how they're hijacking our reality in their time. So you're creating a timeline for emotional baggage. Is that subtle? It's so subtle, you consider it just a mild thought. And you'll erase it at the end of the day when you're sitting on the couch with your family members and so forth. So how was your day? Hey, who can discredit how lovely it is to share your experiences of the day with a loved one? I'm not denouncing that. I'm saying, look how we process information based on the past is what the dark is counting on in this version of humans to create timelines that are reactionary. Conversely, if I'm excited, and that was the second example I gave you, from my heart to say how much I appreciate Jane, all the people who listen to this call, that didn't come from the past in a negative timeline. So I created a positive timeline, not because I was being nice, because it was generated from spirit instead of the mind. Does that make sense, Jane? That mute button's so hard to find.
I'm sorry. That was a perfect example.
Okay, so I'm doing my best to make something that we deal with on a semi-regular basis. Someone's late and we get mad at them. Now let's have a lifetime of being late. Kids, family, friends, and we'll have a pattern recognition of being late and associated with timeline. So now every time you have an emotional reaction to a timeline like that, it actually creates pattern recognition in your epigenetic controlling center. Okay, so that's why whenever I get the chance, I encourage people to do their clearing work because we're little sponges running around here, and it's tricky if you don't remind yourself to get out of the head, or I command my spirit to release anything from me that's not authentically me, as an example, or increase my life force energy. So we want to make sure that what little DNA we are using or is not being hindered, I should say, it could go both ways, that we don't give it away. So an example would be some days you feel like you're in a goldfish bowl, and everybody's just kind of a silhouette of themselves, not really. That's one of the negatives. The best way to abduct people is to get you on timelines that you don't aspire to do. So court cases, anything to do with the past, debts, let's see, any kind of bill, anything that creates lack of or reactionary timelines. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and so now, that's great, Q, you got all the answers, hotshot, but I got kids, and I got a mom that's needy, and my husband's an asshole, and someone's in the hospital, et cetera, et cetera. Now, deal with that, hotshot. Is that where we're going, Jane?
Yes, you're good. You're doing beautifully. Please.
All right. So now let's put this into play. Real life stuff now. Okay. Wait a minute. That wasn't real? Yeah. So that's the whole point. So now what can I do? No. Let's break it down. So why would we want artificial time? So if Q's right and the genetic manipulation, by the way, you were not created by aliens, this version of genetics was manipulated by aliens. Okay, so to get massive amounts of memory, overthinking and processing information to be your primary decision-making process is alien technology. right? So most mammalians in the multiverse only use the brain for observing the experience from the expression of themselves. There's no such thing as time in the other frequencies as a mammalin, as an example. There's no such thing as time. There's just no way to measure it. That's what clocks do, right? We beat down to death. So if you look at how we create unnecessary urgency, you can almost guarantee you've been abducted. So conversely, I can't wait to give you an attaboy for all the hard work you've done. That came right from the heart, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, steer me a little bit.
So,
that was
yeah.
air.
So go back, if you will. Let's talk about, everybody wants prosperity now, but it's not so much about that. So let's just say that a number of people have debts that they want to be able to get rid of, and they can't, it always bothers them, right? They feel like, oh my God, I've got to get this paid off. I got to get this car, and then the mortgage, et cetera, et cetera. So you're still looking, and what you're saying is that we should just be observing it and not getting caught up with it emotionally, right? I mean, that sounds like an easy trick, right? But it's
right.
not.
So, okay, so let's do the debt one real quick, because that one's easy.
Okay.
You'll notice that debt is exclusively about your past choices. It's even called debt. So every time you use a dollar bill, you're creating more debt, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we create debt for ourselves and other people by using money. Now, in the past, I went and bought a car and I have payments due, as an example, right?
Yes.
But I don't have any money at the end of the month and I owe the car payment. Okay, so if we would, in this example, the person goes to the car lot and said, I really need a car. Why do we need a car in most cases in America? Well, that's to go to work now, isn't it, Jane? How come we need to go to work? Well, we got to get to the almighty dollar, don't we? Well, here we go. There's your timeline. You already created a timeline by having lack of, I need to get something to get something to get something to get something so I can get there. And so the timeline at the car dealership has already been created because we only need transportation to get somewhere, which in most cases is a job, and or shuffling the kids around and everything else. So the decision that we made on that timeline, reactionary, of your environment, as I've said in the other shows, you've inherited almost everything here, instead of creating what you want here. So you made a choice on a timeline to buy a car, which you could afford, and when you lost your job, you couldn't. And so the choice now was yours to stop the timeline, and that is not go to work, not shuffle kids around, and don't get in debt with a car. Q, that's not realistic. I live in America. I have to take the kids to ballet. Oh, okay, so here we go. Now we're on the other timeline. So the kids have to do ballet. All the other moms have their kids in ballet. They have to go to ballet. We don't want to look like slobs. In Slobville, we go to ballet. We have to get to ballet. Do you love going to ballet, Mom? Oh, God, I hate it. I don't want to go to ballet, but I gotta look good for the neighborhood, and all her friends are there. And okay, there's another timeline. It's reactionary decision-making process based on the head instead of proactive, inspirational decision-making process. I'm excited to fill in the blank. Again, I realize I'm a broken record, but it is that subtle how our mind manipulates past choices and prioritizes them for today. So that's where the passion comes from today regarding this topic, timelines. Do you suppose that's a good start?
That was beautiful. Again, thank you so much. That was perfect. Yes.
So what timelines are you on?
Right here, right now with Q, and it feels great.
Are you
beautiful.
sure? Are you sure?
Absolutely. Thank you. All of us are.
Yeah, so it's really fun. It's really fun to examine now, isn't
it? Yes, very much. So it's like being on like a hamster, over and over again. It just seems to, you go from one reactionary creation, and then you go to another one almost immediately thereafter. It's like the cycle never seems to really end. So how do we begin that process of really, I know, we know what you're going to say is always come from your heart. When for the most part, we're always using this conscious brain of ours in regards to, because that's how we've been programmed for eons, or for, so many lifetimes, etc., just to continue to be this way. So how do we stop that wheel and get off this train, right? And I know that, oh yes, of course, you know the answer, right? We know the answer. Forget about the timelines and really always flow with the heart. But there's always that but, Q.
Okay, so again, it's very difficult to answer this comprehensively in the English language. We'll do our best. Again, I encourage everybody to feel this information, as you will get a good transfer of dialogue from source as we go here throughout the show. And it's natural for a higher frequency being, when it comes down to this dimension, for the ease of communication, for you to get some of it. So everyone who's awakening, as an example, is giving their neighbor more light. And so just the words are a component of our communication, but not the exclusive communication you're experiencing. The light, see, I guess I always want to favor that there is no belief system needed. You don't need a roadmap for bringing more light and or source and or God into your physical being and representing the light here, so to speak. It's already in you. Okay, so I'll say it again. If the aliens want to take over a region for the purpose of stealing energies, just a very short version, they get here before you. Okay, so they've already taken over your planet. This is a dark planet. That the Earth was made. It was so peaceful and so beautiful. Didn't have destructive weather. Didn't have wars. The dark brought problems and situations, and so as we keep dancing and reacting to the situations, that's what they're going for. Okay. Yes, there are aliens that create tornadoes. That is a true statement. This planet had very supple, very, very simple weather patterns. It's a living being. Everything here is a living being from source. So you can actually, if you look at the map of planet Earth, and you put it all on one page, of course, that's because the Earth is flat, right? Okay, so well, I'm going to get some calls on that one, aren't I? Well, it is on paper, right? Okay, so
that's a good one. Thank you.
It's my running joke with people in finance too. You know why all accountants quit their job?
Why?
Because they know the numbers lie. And inevitably, a good accountant will figure it out. This is a joke. Like, anyway, get me back on track.
Oh, we were talking about the aliens creating, adverse weather.
Yeah, and so the situations are is now more opportunities, basically. So when you look at the etheric level, I'm primarily talking about, so when I come in and out of here, so I'm not here with you in real time. I participate with you, but because I can see from outside here in here, it's quite easy to talk about these items. And I couldn't always do it until I had the industrial military complex implants removed and so forth. So the dark did a good job of capturing me when I first got here and cutting and pasting. And of course, the implants help me now recognize how they do it, how they did it, why they did it. And of course, getting your memories back helps. But I'm doing my best to explain how easy it is to see when we are outside of it. And we're all from the same place. We're all from source. But we all go and experience and express ourselves throughout the multiverse in individuality or collectiveness. And so I always want to keep fueling the encouragement that we are all a portion of God expressing itself in whatever we desire to do. It's amazing. It's amazing. How would you explain all that is, all that will ever be, and that's what you are? How would you do it?
There are no words, right?
Yeah, and so that's what's so great about, and so I want to encourage everybody, we travel here through light ships, and that includes you folks. And so when we go, the reason we use your light, and so when you want to focus in on let's say a region of the multiverse, the light ship is a conduit to co-create. It's nothing more. We call it a light ship, so it's easier for you to recognize how dimensions can come around other dimensions and locations and space. So right now, as an example, the light ship that's around your solar system and universe right now is squeezing in all the time, and you're an explanation of it. So that body of light that's coming into your existence more and more is recognized through your heart center. And that's why so many people are having massive breakthroughs, because they're getting their feedback on it. The best way you can do it, several writers have gotten close to explaining this pretty good, believe it or not. So if you take a triangle, two triangles, and point them at each other as upside down and right side up, point them at each other and have the tips touching each other, that the top triangle would be the brain, the bottom triangle would be the light. And so what you have here is you have opposing funnels, and they're squeezing the volume of light, so it's restricted. And then, of course, it has the energetics of light and source, and the mind is powered to be the primary decision-making process, yet you need the light to do all the heavy lifting of creating a dimension, a reality, location. So as you grow more of your light, I command my spirit to increase my life force energy, as an example, that funnel gets opened up more and more and more, and eventually you don't use your mind for decision making. You use your mind to observe the aspirations, expression, joy, passions that you have. Does that make sense?
Yes. It does. So
essentially why I'm here, why the light ship here is to help you. It is here now to help you go through the process, clear the thoughts and emotions of your ancestors. Okay, you've had to do it physically. It could take about probably 10 lifetimes. There's no modality on Earth that can do what the light can do for you. It's in you right now. And that's why we're here now on the ascension cycles. It's going to be very tough. Probably will never happen. This version of the dark will disintegrate forever. So the more you favor choices from the dark, I have no problem saying it's going to be tough to ever get to higher frequencies, because you're stuck in the lower decision-making process of the mind. And that's a pretty bold statement, but that's how the dark works. Is it captures you, holds you, and you can't figure out how to get out of the box, so to speak. And it's all based on your decisions. Your decisions are the definitions of ascension. You can choose excitement for your next choice, and synchronicity, positive synchronicity will occur, i.e., I thank you for all the love you've given me. I thank all the people who have helped me and given me love gifts. And I cannot wait to talk to another round of people about the evolution they're going through and how they've helped their neighbors and taught me what it's like to be a human here. And guess what happens? They give me energy. They give me support. They give me attaboys, and guess how powerful that is, huh? Well, we don't have to guess, now, do we?
No.
Your heart center is the only connection you're ever going to have to divine energies. It is always with you. Your spirit is your conduit for healing. And my dear brother, Ron Amatron, will echo that forever. And that's why we're here. And so I'm fresh off the bench not going anywhere, and I'm going to see us all through this. I'm going to hold my hand while I'm holding yours, because this is how it works here. We're in a human body that doesn't have all its tools, and we're getting them back. Now, I'm not endorsing commanding your spirit every waking second of every waking day. Just do it once a week, once a day, and watch yourself explore making simple decisions. Slower is faster for positive synchronicity. When you want things to happen, I've got to get it done, and I better do it. It's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. And by the way, I'm going to get this RV off the ground, and everyone's going to be a billionaire now and do it and like it and save the world. And okay, it sounds good, but does it feel in an intrinsic fashion that you love what you're doing in all of your informal decision-making process?
There you go.
Your spirit must be in your body to heal it. It's quite interesting little trick here. So you have to get more spirit in you, and you do it through those intrinsic choices. So the more you make choices based on the past, paying the car bill, as you said, Jane, and or the debt, the more your spirit will not be in the body, because you're giving away your spirit to the dark. You say, no, I'm just paying my car bill, Q. No, that's not true, because that unnecessary urgency of that timeline was created so you would pay the bill. I'm not endorsing everyone going bankrupt. I'm saying your past is your past. It's already gone. Everything I said is gone. The light only works in love. It only works in heart energy. Heart energy never forces anything to happen. It's strictly love energy. The light does not allow darkness into it. How could it? It doesn't even know the dark. That's why I'm going to say it over and over again, like my brother. And the light does not know the dark. That's why I have to be a human here to help you. And all the countless conversation with the Galactic Federation and many, many, many others, notice they're not showing up to help you. And you know why? Because we are really stinky. It really stinks down here. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that is a galactic point of view. It's not standardized, but some might say, why would I want? So let me give you a lower dimensional perception from the galactic level. Jane, would you like to live in a tunnel with a bunch of insects for about 50 years?
No.
So that's what the higher frequency beings perceive you as right now. Okay, so no, and this is helpful. I'll give you an example. I feel it is helpful. When a lot of individuals, these are not absolutes, by the way. A lot of individuals outside of our plane, galactically, if they came here, they would most likely die from your language, because of the emotional feelings that are associated with the consonants in the English language, T's, S's. So they see you as a babbling, lying, unauthentic, emotional, angry, black magic spell communicator every time you use English. Wow. Interesting, isn't it? Because they know the English language was designed to create timelines and put magic spells, that's why it's called spelling, on everyone you talk to. Listen, just find me any word, you can examine any word you want. My favorite, of course, is govern, men. So I just created the spell. So when someone outside of this plane looks at that, they go, whoa, one word said controlling a mass amount of people, swearing at them at the same time, and disgustingly described them as well. That's what it would look like from a frequency of that word. Interesting, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And so now we don't let me go too far down the path, because there are some incredible poets here, mm-hmm. and incredible musicians and artists and incredible, beautiful people, period, that when they speak, you cannot stop listening to them because they are so unbelievably perfect in their intentions now, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
A lot different now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So
Very
in
nice.
my suggestion is to take great care. Clear the densities and give yourself a better life. Make up your own clearing work. It's just a matter of recognizing you're on a really emotional planet. This is very new to you, even though you've been here quite a while. Again, you're running the emotions of all your ancestors through you at one time. It's quite interesting, but it can be cleared and solved. All you have to do is use your heart, and the timelines go away. They're proactive timelines. I have many stories about this. Let me know which direction you'd like to go today, Jane.
Well, I do have a question for you. So, we have a brain, right? And we don't want to use our brain, but part of our brain, we don't even utilize anything that's in the subconscious mind, right? And apparently there's so much within the junk brain or the subconscious mind that we haven't even touched or we can't even connect with, at least for many people, right? So that's always been something that has been out there to be able to, connect more, with the subconscious rather than the conscious mind, because the conscious mind is the thinking part. And as you always say, don't think, right? So there's got to be a parallel between the subconscious and our spirit. And so I guess, waking up the subconscious and waking up the light, that's kind of, is that synonymous? Is it on the same level? Or did you want to say anything about the subconscious in regards to spirit? And
Yes, that's awesome that you would ask me that. It's almost like I knew it was going to happen. Where else do you go? All right. So do you mind if I ask some questions?
Of course, please.
Okay, Jane, you always step right in it. I always get you. I love it. You're such a good sport. Again, great example of forgiveness. Unconditional love has conditions, as we've talked about. I'm sure we're tired. But here is the definition of unconditional love for me. I want to make sure I get this because this is on the tip of my tongue. For instant forgiveness should and is always going to be an opportunity for you to get out of these timelines. Instant forgiveness. So what had happened? So what they slept? It's gone. And that's why that marries so well with your statement. You believe that there's a percentage of your mind you are not using. You're calling it subconscious. Is that what you believe, Jane?
That is what many people believe, including myself. Yes.
Now, here, let's get on a timeline. Believe
it.
Okay. So now, here we go.
Oh dear, I got sucked in.
Here we go. So I love this. So now we believe that we can only use a percentage of our brain because is there somebody with a white jacket that told you that? And so in order for you to get your master's degree, is that where we got it from? I wonder where we got that from.
It's from out there, from many people. Well, you could talk. Right. You could bring in Carl Jung. You can bring in some of the philosophers and say. Well, anyways, you know where I'm going with that. Thank you.
Yeah, I love them because they have way more words than me, and so I go, okay, can't we just start from going within? Yeah, but there's a nucleus about this that I need to explain. No, there actually isn't. There's just one thing to do, and that is use your heart to make decisions. Okay, so now we believe we're chasing information. That would be the word believing, that we can only use a percentage of our mind. And here's what I challenge everybody. Excuse me, this is an opportunity for everyone to watch how they make their next decision. If it's based on their mind, I have to, past choices, whatever. or something you cannot wait to do because you're so inspired, including sitting on the couch. Okay. Now, the mind is being used primarily. We're thinking backwards. So I actually agree with your statement, because I would like you to replace subconscious with consciousness from source. All the words are limited to what I'm doing my best to explain. Your knowledge comes from your heart. Everything ever experienced in the universe, past, future, present, is in your heart right now. As surely we're tired of me saying this. So you're correct. We are not using our heart as our primary decision-making process, knowledge center, which comes into us, and we decide if we want to go left and right because we're excited or we're not. And then the brain observes the expression and experience of that excitement. So the only thing the brain can do for you is store memory based on the, please say it.
On the past.
That's right. So I can read every book on this planet, and where is that book now? Where is it?
All over the place?
No, come on now. Stay with me.
Okay.
If I read a book,
right,
and I'm done with the book, it's in the
past.
Okay, so
it's on the shelf now.
Yeah. Okay. So now we can actually. I do my best not to say names. I want to really bad. There are people. I'll give you a clue. There are people who do this and represent themselves in a very technical, intrinsic way because they're funneling the information, knowledge through their heart, and then they actually go work for the space shuttle program, as an example, or they work for the industrial military complex, or and so forth, because that knowledge is so easily attainable. Sure, they have memory. Sure, they can record things in their genetics, but they actually have less restrictions of DNA. I didn't say they have less DNA or more DNA. I said they had less restrictions from their consciousness, light, source, God, whatever word you like, coming directly into them without a hindrance of the genetic filter, which I'm calling DNA, out the brain to represent the knowledge and execute it. Watch it, experience it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So again, we're all processing information reactively instead of proactively as a stereotype. Not all of us, obviously. There's some great people living on the Amazon that could care less about what I'm saying. There's tremendous amount, out of all the calls all over the world, I love every one of them. I just enjoy them so much. Everyone pull on me, call on me. I'm going to make it easier and easier all the time here as I learn from you all what you need. But when you look at some of the legacy religions here, hint Buddhism, some of it's still left over. So a lot of people from India, Malaysia, they don't call me because they already know to go within. They live happy with nothing. And it's not that they don't want more things. It's that they recognize the flow of the universe is through the heart. Does that ring a bell?
Indeed. Yes. Okay.
Show's over. I mean, this has got to be close to our last show, don't you think?
We hope not. We are still just kind of on the surface still.
That's the best I can do. And I'm really looking forward to the collaboration centers we're going to create around the planet, and they are coming based on everyone else's desires. That is one constant theme with everyone that I communicate with, is we all want to join hands and let's get to work and put some things into play for us, right?
Yeah, so Q, I had to go back again to the concept of the subconscious. As you say, it marries very well with source, right?
Yeah, so, I do, I take some shots at our medical industry because it was, of course, very, very close and dear to me for many reasons. hold my words there. So recognize. So when you say subconscious, I would say recognizing the difference between super consciousness.
Oh, gotcha.
So there's again, it's very difficult to explain in the English language the volume of light you're actually using at any given time versus the distractions, the reactionary process in which you're managing the volume of super consciousness in real time,
Yes.
because you've got so many distractions here. The one thing, if I was to say, if you only had one thing you could talk about when you get down there, what would it be to say? The unnecessary urgency around time. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got to get her done, don't they? And not realizing they only live 5 minutes, being cut and pasted. And so for the record, everyone, you're hundreds of years old, all of you, being cut and pasted. They're hijacking our time. You can actually see it. I want everyone to go get a stopwatch if you can, mechanical, and you can watch them cutting and pasting time. These folks are very savvy. They need you. That's why we're all still alive. They can't stay at this frequency band unless we create a dimensional reality for them. And that is my great passion. This is not what I came here to talk about. But once you get in here, you go looking around and you go, everyone's on timelines that aren't theirs. And then you do the root cause analysis. And so that's why I want to make sure that we stay on track whenever we get a chance to look, is that generated from heart-based decisions or reactionary decisions? So I hope that helps. Keep going. I love this. This is a great show. Nobody's listening. I know no one's listening, but at least it's you.
Everyone is listening. Very, very. They're attention. They're very much listening and digesting everything that you're. Besides, the love energy that you always bring forth with these specific calls. So going back again to the word timelines. So we're here now and consciously, and so, we'll just say, in this present. So that's the biggest hurdle. I don't want to call it hurdle, but that's our biggest challenge. Well, I guess it's the same thing synonymously, is to be able to clear all of the ancestors, the epigenetic connections with timelines and the reactions and etc. So it's so, I hate to say this, but, again, we continue on a daily basis being faced with that all of the time. So it's evident already in the example you gave regarding myself. It's like I reacted, and then it's a chain effect, even in terms of reacting to children, etc. It's always the past is always coming up almost all the time. So when you say clearing, I think we have to do all the commands every 5 minutes of the day. And I know that that's not realistic either. So it is very challenging. I guess is really what I'm trying to say, bottom line. Still.
Yeah. And so the opportunity, again, is forgiving yourself and everyone associated with it. It's not that there aren't circumstances you're not going to go experience and or going to experience. But your emotions are your choice. And that's why I do my best to ask you just to take the thoughts in your head and put in your heart and look. You just proved to yourself you are controlling emotions. Now, the head creates its own emotional body, and the body genetically records it, and then you get to carry it with you. Isn't that fun? So when you're all pissed off about you being late, not calling me, Jane, when you claim I was supposed to call you, and now we're both pissed off, and we go to the dinner party, guess what the dinner party's going to get? Pissed off Jane and pissed off Q, right? And then we're going to talk about each other at the dinner party, aren't we? Behind each other's back.
Right, and then we create more timelines, correct.
And then we're going to tell stories that are embellished, and then we're going to say, That's normal. That's a bad person. That's a good person. I'm the judge of judges. I will tell you what you are, where you are, and how you are, because I am me. I love it. I love it. That could be a comedy tour.
So,
We should do a Q spiritual comedy tour, don't you think?
yeah, you could do that, Q. I don't want to be there.
I got to get my your new friend you introduced me to might help me. I got to get some coaching on timing. That's what I've learned about. May I challenge you with a change in words? Would that be okay?
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Can we erase challenge from the English language and use opportunities?
Oh, thank you so much. Beautiful. I think we need a new dictionary, and then you can go ahead and put that together for all of us.
Well, anyway, I wanted to point out that off-planet individuals, when they come here, and there's many here now,
right?
See you as a babbling swearer, comprehensive. You look like you're emotionally spreading swear words constantly in the English language. That's what many individuals have explained to me.
And we're doing that
and
in
I'm
the
in full
present.
agreement.
And we're in the present doing that, Q. And
That's
so
right.
you're saying we have to be able to let go of all of the stuff that went back hundreds of years or thousands of years back. We still have to just really concentrate on the present, because we're doing it all the time, every single day.
Yeah, a lot of off-planet individuals also are surprised we fell for, even though we missed the ascension cycle and we've come across this next 2,000 years and grown very fast. So we when we started, we didn't have a lot of brain knowledge. We had tremendous amount of epigenetic history in our physical being 2,000 years ago. And then we built it up, and 60 generations later, that's you now, you're executing much of that legacy history, just like a tree would. You're recording everything, and then you have a baby, and then they're recording it, and they have a baby, and they're recording it, and now your present day genetics and an emotional time clock.
Exactly.
I want to say bomb, but it's actually time. So they're actually channeling the outcome that they want here is very simple. They just want to turn you into a robot that you're calling a gray alien. They want us to stop procreating and get to work. Okay, so they got enough folks here, genetics, I should say, but they don't want you too savvy. So as you can see, there's an attack on your DNA now, and you got to witness it for a couple of years, and you're falling for timelines continuously with money and stepping stones, and I need things before I can get things, and so forth. Hope that's a good segue.
That is. So perhaps maybe you could talk a little bit about that we are turning into, or they want us to turn into robots, but this is the ascension period, so we are not doing that, because our focus is going to be, again, all about the opportunities to bring more light into into us, into the hearts, and spreading that around. So
yeah, it's quite obvious that all of us have this capability to go through the ascension process. And by the way, when is it going to happen is up to us exclusively. You're God, dear ones. You invented the ascension cycle. It's here to keep us. If there was a definition of time, it would look like it would look like creativity. That's what time is the rolling ocean of creativity, no matter what you desire to be.
So even though we're so caught up, with what we've just been talking about, and there is already the squeezing of the light more into where we are presently. So the other part of it is, or most of it has actually to do with our individual work with this, right? To get it over that line, from light to dark, so that the only thing we're focusing on most all the time is just of the light. So where are we on that? On that diagram, or on that horizontal line? You know.
Hey, Jane. Hey, Jane.
Yeah.
How,
Yes.
Jane. Jane,
Yeah.
how come you
I
didn't,
know. I'm
how come you didn't call me last?
creating a timeline.
How come you didn't call me last? Yeah.
Sorry. Here, how easy it is to get caught.
See, just like that. So our next conversation, try it right now. This is really fun. What is it you feel would be really fun for you, not anybody else, just you? What would be really fun? If you could talk to Source right now, what would be really fun? Let's just pretend you could talk to Source right now.
Mm-hmm.
What would you ask Source?
I'd like to
Please
get
don't
off
tell me what planet I'm from. Please don't say that.
No, I want to get off the planet. I think I'm not the only one saying that, right?
Okay,
off
let's
the
talk.
planet.
Let's talk about Ascension a little bit here.
Sure.
What was fun when I rekindled my legacy relationship? It's a very ancient relationship with Billie. She said something key to me on one of the first shows. It's difficult for me to remember these things, but I think probably one of the few shows in the beginning there. She said, if I had my choice again, and she begged and screamed at Dad to get her up here, I probably wouldn't come here. Okay. Now, there's a tremendous amount of reasons for that, and I'll let her explain it from her point of view. But for the most part, the reason you feel like you don't belong here is because you missed the last ascension cycle. So even there's a lot of places you can go to check my words in your heart, but you can do it intrinsically too. Let's see if I can find a means of measurement here in relation to ascension. Getting out of here is real simple. It's up to you. And the more you're waiting for something to happen, you're never going to get there. It's up to you, your next choice to get out of here. Okay. This planet, this is a new spirit in this planet. The spirit that was here in 2012 left because it was tuckered out with all the nuclear bombs. Now, a lot of people don't realize that I would estimate in the last 100 years, there's probably been over 2,500 different nuclear bombs let off. They will not happen again, by the way. Yet, why would we need 25 plus 100 nuclear bombs? Well, somebody's fighting somebody now, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Notice there was a lot of underwater explosions. Mm-hmm. The timeline that I created a couple shows ago, we'll talk at the end, so don't let me forget, by the way. Mm-hmm. The way out of here is through you and your heart. Nothing more, nothing less. And your relationship with your planet better be true, because the spirit that's in your planet now knows exactly how to go through the ascension cycle. And that's why you're hearing me create a little more dialogue about this. Is we're getting down to the quick now. You got to make some choices. Are you gonna keep doing things the way you used to, or are you going to really, really own yourself? Are you going to really trust, have faith in yourself? You don't need a book. You need you to feel which way you want to go. And that book that you wrote is called Excitement and Passion, Purpose, Joy. I can never get tired of saying inspiration, because I know how it feels to me. And the word doesn't even begin to explain how inspired we are just by breathing. Mm-hmm. So that you don't have to overthink this. You don't have to, did I make the right step? Did Q tell me to do it this way or that? All you have to do, that's what's so beautiful about our powers. As soon as it feels right, it just feels right. And you don't need to know anything. Okay, so wait a minute, Q. It doesn't feel good to be late on my mortgage. If I keep doing it, they're going to kick me out. I go, why'd you get a mortgage in the first place? Well, I need a place to live. Here we go. Timeline circle. Here we go around the circle again. Okay. Just use your heart in these situations that you've inherited to work it out from your heart. So now we'll go to a micro timeline that contradicts timelines from our heart. Okay, so let's talk about the mortgage thing. That one's always fun. Everyone's got a mortgage or rent, at least in America. By the way, Jane, can you tell me, I got to steal one from the Andromeda guys. Let's see. Why is it that you pay rent on the planet you were born on? Can you explain that one to me?
No, but I know you could.
Okay, so what if we just all stopped? don't all the mortgage companies go out of business? Like, period, they're gone, right?
That's true.
Well, that's why they created 50 states now, didn't they? with 50, with 500 different courtrooms and so forth. So all courts are based on the past, aren't they?
Yes.
All right, so let's do a micro timeline. And by the way, I suggest if you do get participating in a lot of timelines, I would go to the Creation Lightship webpage and do a whole lifetime timeline crash. Most of you won't need to go to that extreme if you're understanding what I'm saying. All you have to do is work on your decision-making process. It's very simple. All right, so now let's talk about the mortgage real quick. Forgive me for getting off track there a little bit. The situation we'll explain is I have to pay rent, and mortgage, and I don't have the money. I'm going to be late. I quit my job because my job wasn't heart-based. And so I hated working at the bank anyways. But anyway, so now we've quit our job. We're not going to be able to pay the mortgage. And now we're sitting there. What do we do? We're worried. So just the worry alone about not paying the mortgage is a timeline. That is an abduction. That is not you. That's all this conversation is about today regarding timelines. If it's greed, if it's lust, if it's anything from a past experience, reactionary emotions, something from outside yourself that you're reacting to that's processed through the brain to create emotions in your physical body, is not you. Okay? I know it's tough to figure out, okay, wait a minute. So when I'm angry, that's not me. That's correct. Because remember, before you got in this body, you did not have a brain. You did not have a memory. You had all knowledge of the entire universe. You didn't know what emotions are in a physical body until you went and experienced it. All right, let's get to the bills. All right, so now I'm going to make a choice on whether I pay the mortgage. I'm scared to call them because if the minute I call them, they're going to take the house away. All right, so what if from your heart you examine it? You just write down all the situations regarding not being able to pay the rent. Okay, now look at I can't pay my mortgage. Make a row, one on the right side. We'll have two columns, one on the right, one on the left. Forgive me if this is redundant. On the right side, we're going to have everything we want to have happen in our life. Put them down, just 1,000. I don't care if it's, I want a jet airplane. I don't care what it is. On the left side, put everything you don't prefer in your life. And many of you have heard me say this. So now I don't want to pay the mortgage. And then the next line will be, I can't pay the mortgage. The next item is, if I don't, they're going to do this and that. And then everything on the left side of your page is the past. Okay, so now what do you want to have happen? I don't want to have to worry about this bill called the mortgage. So what if your heart says, what do I want in the future? I want no debt where I live. So in a heart-based fashion, you could now ask for help with the individuals that are actually trying to hurt you. Because it's heart-based, it will be infused into the situation. So if you're truly, truly passionate about the next conversation you have with the mean old banker, remember, that's a perception. How do you know that there's not an angel on the other phone there? You don't know that. You actually don't know what's going to happen in the future. But if you use your heart, I guarantee you it will be expressed from source, from God. And the person who picks up that phone is going to get it. And the synchronicity occurs in a positive situation. Now, I'm not going to get into it too details, but that's a good example for me that if the next decision you make, calling them, I care about them, they're just doing their job. Hey, I know I owe you some money, but I'm going to need some more time. And I love that you helped me get my house. And I love that I have a beautiful house. What can we do going forward? I just really want to pay this house. Remember, the bank was created for you too. They go out of business if you don't pay them. They know it. They need you more than you need them. So this dimension that we're in can be changed remember, nothing exists until you actually open the door, just by using your heart with a simple decision like that. Is that an okay start?
Well, that's a beautiful start. Yes. It's again, it's a perception as well as, moving from feeling, the negative feelings to a more positive, you know, positive emotion. So it's
Right.
really,
And
yeah,
so
that's exactly what we want.
right. And so the more you do it, the more synchronicity is allowed to support you and or the universe.
Right.
Okay, I'll give you a little longer story that will show you how that works. I need to move. Joe needs to move, and his house needs help and support, and he needs to move because he's tired of living where he lives, but he doesn't have the house in good enough shape to get a tenant in there, but he loves the house, doesn't want to get rid of it, can't afford to live in two homes, and he's going to relocate around the world. If he could just find someone that would be willing to live in the house, work there and help him clean it up, and exchange for rent, if he could just find someone to help him do that, it would be so awesome. And guess what happens? That person shows up, and that person says, I've been looking for a house. And that person showed up because your heart was in fixing up the house, and you needed a contractor to come give you a quote for something in the home. And the contractor says, man, what are you going to do with this house? It looks like, oh gosh, this is a beautiful house. I love this place. Yeah, I'm moving. I'm trying to get it cleaned up so it's hospitable and safe for a tenant. Well, I need a house. Well, yeah, this house isn't ready. I don't have the money to fix it up, but I got to make my mortgage, so I'm going to go work across the world and so forth. Found a job. Well, why don't I rent it from you, and I'll do work concurrently to help pay for the rent. So I'll offset rent for the improvements to your house. Okay, so that's how a timeline works. Positive synchronicity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's another beautiful example. Perfect.
Yeah,
I
and
think
so
we're, yeah.
And I know this is a little bit redundant, repetitive, yet we're over processing this information. It's really simple. Even my words are too much for me. Really, is if I'm excited, then it just shows up, and that includes the gallon of milk. On and on it goes.
Yeah, that's both of them are very those are excellent. Because so many people right now are at a kind of a brink of, I'd love to be able to move, or I'd, whatever it is, whatever the concerns are, there are always, just as blessings can come in different forms, whether they're positive or negative. Even the negative, there's a great opportunities for people in that area. So if a person who gets super sick, really, really sick and can't get out of bed, whether it's due to, whatever. So what are my alternatives? So, for example, a person who has, taken took the jabs or whatever, and now they're in bed. And no, they could go ahead and blame the government. They can blame, whoever they are, and still feel very angry within because they can't even get off of the bed. So what is their alternative to think positively? I'd like to give you that question for you. I'd like to hand that over to you. What would you do then? Yes.
Yeah, right. So immediately, the mom on the call, the couple on the call here, the married couple saying, I've got 3 kids. I got ballet practice and I got mortgage, and I'm not really getting along with my partner, my husband. And by the way, how'd I get here? Okay. So everything I said is relationship to identity and the past, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So your next choice is to do it or not to, whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to choose? That's all the advice I have. What are you going to choose based on your past experiences from the mind? Mm. Everyone is living a karmic life here because of your epigenetic recording system. Okay. History repeats itself because you keep doing the same things over and over again in timelines. What you're calling karma, is alien technology. Yes, you have karma because you keep installing it and recording it in your genetics. And that your brain was designed, 100% designed to be abducted. That's this type of brain. This type of brain has so much memory and so much capability. And by the way, you've got a big old crystal in the middle of your head that's a swinging door to go abduct you. Everybody's so excited about finding their pineal gland, and I say, well, you're never going to learn how to use it because the door swings so quickly both ways. Now, once you calibrate and configure it properly, it works very good. So I don't want to make an absolute there, but for the most part, the brain is very tricky business, sorting between heart-based decisions and mind energy. We get some work done, did we?
So now it's up to us.
That's all Ascension is about. So even your ascension words have been compromised. So you've been told you're ascending. I'm gonna ascend. When is it gonna happen? And of course, that's another timeline being created by aliens. See, these guys aren't in your physicality. There are plenty of aliens here that are dark underground, doing all sorts of nefarious things, and in the physical, intrinsic. But the ones that are really doing the work here is the etheric, the ones you can't see. And they own the physical beings here on the alien side too. So as long as you have a name for a type of alien, and I use that word loosely because at some point all of us are an alien. What I'm doing my best to say is the dark can inherit any physical being that uses so much mind energy. That's what we should probably change the definitions from alien, dark, whatever. The dark doesn't care about the genetics. As an example, there's a reptilian clan that are some of the most beautiful individuals you'll ever meet. They're fascinatingly intelligent. The geneticists that they are is brilliant. They helped teach me to even talk at this level, and so their experiences are invaluable because they know that some of this technology is being used inappropriately, and now you get to play with artificial intelligence as well, and that's tough. Your big antenna on top of your head just can't stop listening unless you put it to work. Does that make sense? And that is the work with the put what to work? The light. The light doesn't think. Okay, remember that. Stop thinking, everyone, and you will find your heart. But we got things to do, Q. Here we go. Full circle, eh?
Yes. All the time.
All right. So what are we going to do? 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 What if we sing a song?
Yes. Why don't you sing a song?
Oh my gosh. I don't know any songs. See, isn't it easier being silly? Isn't it just like nothing's really matters? Let's do it. Let's do that one. That one's always fun. Okay, real quick. Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters to me. Hope we're not getting old. It's getting old. Poor Freddie Mercury. He's rolling over in his grave. That's really fun actually to start examining the past musicians. So the artists, primarily to get the art out, they use their heart to create it. So when you look at Prince, probably the greatest asset we had in the music industry to put it into words and then play it. Of course, the dark didn't like that. So if you look at the body of his work, he recognized identity was a problem, money was a problem, the expression of everything. Why do you think he made his house white? He was making fun of the White House, of course. And so that was the new White House, the Love Center, baby. And so, you know, you start looking at these folks, they're all a little quirky too, right? They dance at their own, they beat at their own drum, don't they?
Yes,
that's because
absolutely.
This is what we all know once you get enough light in you is everything has too many rules here. And there's a rule. There's no fun in the fun house, man. When you go on the trampoline, you got to go inside a net and everything. No, I want to fall off the trampoline. I don't want a safe trampoline. I want a dangerous trampoline. So that's the first thing most of us recognize when we get here is, where do you step without blowing up? Everywhere we go, there's like another rule. And so we are doing a great job recognizing it, which will be the immediate distinguish. This is what's going to extinguish, and that is choosing things we prefer. And we're really fast at it. So this, if you look at how fast we're going, it is really impressive. So your disclosure process has been happening for 2,000 years, as you can see. So what's the next flavor of the day for duality to poke its head? And I purposely made a timeline for us to see, what direction do you suppose they're going to try and steer us now? Where do you think they're going to try and steer us if we keep looking at these machines for past information? So we're going to call news now the past, right? So everything on the news, even really high quality, loving people, every time they put a podcast, including me, it's already over now, isn't it? So as long as I can get you to keep looking at this machine and relating to the past exclusively, another drama, another dogma, another anything, another belief, another belief, another belief, another Bible, another he said, she said, everything is going great for the dark. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They don't even care. They don't even care if it's money. They actually don't even care if you have unbelievably positive emotions. They don't, as long as there is a timeline with reactionary emotional creativity, they love it. So if you are in a fight with some darkness, especially in your sleep, you say, hey, can we just make everything really fun and exciting instead of really down and out? And you'll see it actually works. I'm sure I've said that several times. Where else do you want to go, Miss Jane?
I don't know. That was a volume of love information that you just gave to us.
Yeah, I want us to tinker with it, and I'm really encouraging everybody to explain it better than I, because there's many people who are recognizing it now. Man, how did I get here? What was the band? The Talking Heads. This is not my big happy life. This is not my big fancy car, et cetera, et cetera. And so we start recognizing that most of these things are all reactionary, aren't they?
Yes, everything. Yes, absolutely.
And the beauty of it is we are climbing out of this pretty steady clip now. And, you know, there's a couple places to start looking for our past expression of ourselves here in much better and longer winded explanation of ascension. You know, obviously we're always stricken by time here on the shows. If you follow, let's see, if you start looking around, you have to dig. You might have to physically, intrinsically dig. There's archaeologists now that have uncovered a lot of material for us all. And so I'm going to be careful not to endorse any one person or group, but start looking for people who have some legacy genetics from some of the cat races, lion races, Lyrian races, and you'll see. So if some of those genetics in our physicality have bled through and helped us get more light in us. I've noticed that race of beings that still a portion of us is in this type of mammal. There's others too, not exclusively, but if you see people that are there's archaeologists that really represent themselves with lion beings and so forth. A lot of those genetics are still kind of tinking around. Anyway, there's archaeology digs in Mexico that now you should be able to find just straight up images of beings in etheric, electromagnetic etheric transportation vessels, where you're calling them flying saucers. Not really, but they have a lot of artifacts coming out. And what's interesting to me is there's still in the past, weeks ago, still a lot of governments fighting this information, and it's for reasons you wouldn't expect. You'd say it's to control the development. It's really they don't have enough knowledge to explain it to the public, which makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? So let's just say the head of archaeology in whatever country is getting all this artifacts up in the ground. They're not prepared to talk about ascension, let alone the technology that they're uncovering, let alone the explanation of the technology and the geographic relationship to your planet, let alone that every one of these people and beings that they're uncovering has an explanation that they really can't translate, and tells the story in imagery. And that's why imagery in all of your legacy artifacts was so broad, because they knew that the next ascension cycle may have an entirely different race of beings that spoke an entirely and or understood entirely different body of information. Makes sense now, doesn't it? So it's not that anybody wanted to favor a communication. It was, how do we explain? So duality was here at some degree in the last ascension cycle. How do we explain to the next generation, leave artifacts, a footprint, so that we don't make the same mistake again? For me, that's what archaeology is. How do we make sure we tell the others? Pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yes. So let's talk about, since you brought up timelines, I mean, we could talk about that future. For many that are listening already understand that there are many, there's, there are millions, again, infinite amount of creation that's beyond our little blue earth, right? And a lot of that is really coming into the open, even as far as space, you want to call them spaceships, from other galaxies, or from wherever, through light years, through portals, et cetera, et cetera. That's coming out in the news anyways, right? Or you look at the Gaia channel, there's a lot of information there that, a lot of people kind of go to, to just look at what might have happened in the past that was, very positive and uplifting, and, and in the near future of what is to come. But I guess maybe my question is, if you looked into, and we've asked you to do that, and you already have, but when we're looking at archaeology and the different types of mammalian beings that are out there, I mean, so many people would be very, very amazed. Where did the unicorn come from? Or the horses that were half human and half horse, or the lion beings that walk on 2 feet. I mean, all of those, back when, that was like part of the mythology, or that was part of fantasy or whatever. And in reality, those are absolutely those are real. We just don't see them. Again, a lot of these beings, they don't want to relate. They don't want to come and say hello to us, because we one being aghast and be shocked, and or we would be like, oh my God, what are they doing here? They are the enemies, etc. Right? So how are we going to, I guess, move from this timeline to the next timeline and say, hey, these are really beautiful beings that are just like us, right? The how do we get to the us part so that we can actually do that? And I know that you're going to say, well, the more light you bring into you, and the more that you work with your heart mind or with your heart and your decision making, then you'll be there whenever that time is when you decide. Is that correct, Q?
Pretty sure it's the last show. The show really should only be that long right there. And every week we'd say the same thing. I actually do miss having a tail. It really had a lot of sensory, emotional awareness. So look how cats have whiskers. They can sense emotions and sense the jungle they live, the environment they live in, and so forth. Well, women are a lot like that too. Notice that a lot of women look like cats. Notice it's a little more difficult to lie to a woman, etc., etc. As we get older in this genetic lineage, it's actually supporting ascension. So it's more difficult to trick someone, sneak up on someone. All of those attributes intrinsically are starting to appear, and that's why the attention on us is so dramatic, is because we're getting savvier at going, this doesn't feel right. I don't think I'm going to do it. And the timelines, to your question, is getting very difficult to control the more we keep doing these shows, of course, and communicate about it. What if I didn't do anything I didn't want to do this week? And then we did it for 2 weeks. And then we did it for 3. What if we did it for a whole year? And watch how your life changes. And I didn't say that there wouldn't be people you interact with that are on negative timelines and you have visibility to, but you're on your own timeline in relationship to you and your decision-making process. So the circumstances that you play with day in and day out in the modern Western world really don't matter if you're only focused on creativity, not past. So here's an example. That person owes me money. I'm going to sue them and I'm going to get my money. Okay. That person owes you money based on a past experience. So here's how the universe will not support you anymore. It's impossible to not have a negative timeline in this situation. Watch this. Okay. Jimmy, he owes me money. He ran into my car, made a dent. Jimmy, when are you going to pay me? I don't have the money. I got babies at home to feed. Okay. Well, Jimmy, I'm going to sue you. So I'm going to tell you to pay up or else. And you got 90 days to do it. You don't, I'm going to have you thrown in jail, take you to collections and so forth. Okay. Now, I want the money because Jimmy hit my car. So I reacted to the car getting a dent. Did I proactively want to deal with Jimmy and the dent? No. So what would be a heart-based opportunity there would be, Jimmy, did you know that you hit my car? Oh my gosh, I did not know that. So now I formed a question that could have been a statement, just as easy, but questions create more opportunity to deliver love. So I care before I say one word to Jimmy. I recognize Jimmy may not feel good about running into my car. And so I put the question, yeah, I want my car fixed. But now, Jimmy, hey, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. How do you want to take care of the dents in my car? I don't know what I'm going to do. I got a lot going on. Okay, well, let's just get back to each other on it. There's no emotions. There's nothing more than Jimmy wants to help me. I want to be helped. End of story. Could it be any easier?
No, that's perfect.
So most of the statements that we project to each other are negative because they're in the form they're in. You have to, you're going to, this is what you did. This is where you were. This is where you are. This is how I feel. all of those things are statements. And because of our powers, we're very powerful. It affects the person you're talking to and everyone around them, because you're recording these emotions. And once you put it in the etheric, it comes into the intrinsic. So believe it or not, when I yell, Jane, I love you, everyone feels that as it travels through the etheric field right to you, because you know I love you, Jane.
Correct. Thank you.
But it works, and it works
that
subtle. So that's all we have to do is relate more and more to learning about the situation instead of telling people what the situation is based on constants and or perceptions of the past. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Again, that makes perfect sense. So again, it's all about positive, it's a positive way of looking at things rather than, getting emotional about something, whatever that situation is. So again, it's your perspective and how you work with that perspective that can change it can change the lives of many and change that, that removal of the dark energies so that there is no more recreations of timelines, and you just kind of bring neutrality to the situation.
That's right.
Right. So we just have to be more cognizant of how we are reacting. So for example, I could be driving, right? And or let's just say somebody else is driving and you hear them say something super negative, got angry right on the road.
Are you saying someone's gotten angry with you driving, Jane?
No. Well, okay. Maybe. Maybe.
All right.
Okay. Right. So, I could retaliate and, call him, her names or whatever. Did you see that? Did you see what that woman did? She just drove right in front. It's so easy in terms of how we have just been on rote. I mean, it's been like memorized into our brains that this is how we react, and everybody reacts the same way. And now it's just time to stop it completely, even though we know the best way to react, right? But it's always like after the fact. Oh, I wish I didn't say that to you. Oh, I wish, I wasn't so upset. I wish, I could do as many wishes as I want, but I already created the timeline. So what do I do then? After you've created the timeline already, and it's already gone out to many other people, right?
Yeah, what I'm doing my best here to represent what we're calling unconditional love, that I'm calling forgiveness, is how come I can't instantly forgive when I have these knee-jerk reactions?
Exactly.
When I'm driving. So where does that come from? You'll notice that comes from the brain. So when you reacted to the finger being given to you while you're going down the road, you did not proactively create that. Yes, it happened. Yes, you watched it. And by the way, the emotions that come from someone giving you sign language is just as powerful, if not more, when you say it, because the intentions coming from the magician giving you the middle finger actually gets delivered to you.
Right.
You actually can feel it now. So this is a great example of how we have evolved. So 500 years ago, you would not feel the pain of someone giving you the middle finger like you do today. Pretty interesting, isn't it? So that itself is competition for us to use our heart. Not only are we empathically, telepathically, hyperconscious, clairvoyant, clairaudient, etc., clairassisted, all of those beautiful woo-woo club line items that are all a collective of how source works. You've been duped. All the psychic community has been duped, thinking that they're clairvoyant and or psychic. Even the word tricks you. It might be the worst word you could call someone, a psychic. Psych. It even has a lot of the words in the English language, if they're said backwards, you'll see the trick. So everyone on the planet, hear me. You're all psychic. Ick. All right? Now use your heart to make decisions and then observe them through the huge telecommunication system you have called your head. So I hope that helps get us going. What else do you want to do? Because I want to talk about the timeline I created to see what our researchers can observe as well.
Oh, well, why don't you go ahead and do that, please? Kira?
Okay. So a few shows ago, I have this underlying theme. By the way, the last time I was here, it surprises me people aren't picking up that I'm always a little bit of a troublemaker. I just love breaking rules. I don't like rules at all. A lot of folks around me go, yeah, that's for sure. I don't like rules at all because they don't come from the heart, do they? So a few shows ago, you may remember I created a timeline for this conversation on this show. Okay. Do you remember what it was, Jane? And it was probably difficult to observe and recognize as a timeline, but we did a really good job. We picked a really good subject. I guess I did. Do you remember the timeline I created on, I believe it was the first show of the year?
The very first show?
Maybe it was the second. I'm awful with time, as you know.
Well, I do remember that you were talking about your past.
Yeah, we're talking about, we created a timeline so we could watch it materialize in a negative timeline and or attacking humanity. Okay, so I purposely kicked the bear so I could show you how timelines, so now this is a bigger, grander timeline for humanity, but the goal was for today to show you the microscopic timelines that are not yours, negative timelines, and we watched them grow throughout the show today, and we created a big one to prove to you you are in a war against not only artificial intelligence and or your heart, they don't want you to use your heart, and they are dark beings. Now, the dark beings can go into the intrinsic world. So as an example, George Bush Sr. had a dark being in physicality that had overrun a light being in it. Pretty interesting. So you're seeing a human that was the president of a country, and I see a dark being represented. And by the way, he had a few spares too. And so now you're living in a planet full of artificial intelligence clones and humans that aren't using a lot of their light. And the dark takes over their personality, their expression, many things. Not exclusively, this is not an absolute, but the reason it's happening easier and easier is because they don't know it's happening. They think they're thinking. They think they're processing. They're doing everything right. They're going to be late for work. They're going to be a millionaire. They're going to have a yacht, et cetera, et cetera. They don't have a bigger bandwidth. So what we did recently is we made up a timeline in relationship to a program that is in play for the dark. All right. And it's been built and built and built for years and years and years because we're getting a little too savvy. And we're starting to figure out that, wait a minute, who built those pyramids? No one knows how to build a pyramid, as I've said on the show, because they don't understand many things about our reality. It's not important. You can just prove that we used to be a lot smarter or someone else was a lot smarter. So which one is it? So, of course, the story's already laid for. What would that be? What would be the story? Miss Jane, who lives with
Soraya?
What would be an agenda that might be played out now, as you said, the Gaia channel, the History channel? What do you think? What would be an opportunity for the dark to play with the light beings that are evolving? What would be a nice little toy of your media system? By the way, media is all alien technology. Yes, all of your cellular companies are all alien. There are some exceptions, departments, but for the most part, all of your technology here is to track you, observe you, make sure you get on timelines. So everything we talked about today, what if I could do it in an email? Oh, isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Let me CC my girlfriends on why Jane was late, by the way. And let me distribute emails and text to everybody so I can tell everyone I know on my mailing list that Jane's a bitch because she didn't call me last time. Pretty good technology, isn't it? Now we'll just keep stepping it up. Well, it started with the homing pigeon, of course, and then it went to the newspapers and the mail. And, you know, so 600 years ago when you had modern print, that the whole goal of modern print was propaganda. It's always for steering your realities. That's all the news is about, is steering your reality, because it should be called the old. It's already happened. How could it be news? It's old. But we can't stop looking at the news, can we? We can't stop. And so that's why I wanted to prove to you that it's reacting to what we're doing on this very single show. So that also proves how many people are actually listening. So here's what we did. We started talking about Antarctica. We started talking about nuclear submarines. We started talking about how come all these satellites going up in the air are now public information. I thought this was a secret. Remember all the dialogue we had a couple shows. Okay? It's not important the topics as much as the reaction from the old. That would be called the news. So now your news isn't on the TV anymore. It's on your computer. It's on your phone. You wake up with text messages in the middle of the night, news opportunities every waking minute. You have banners on your entertainment device called Facebook. Yes, that's entertainment. Everyone's an entertainer. I love it. Anyway, the timeline we created, now is showing its face. Okay, so now if you take the time in which we projected that information, my statement to everyone was, sure is quiet. Not a lot going on, is there? Okay, so the minute I say that, the AI, in coordination with the dark, goes, well, we got to keep the train on the tracks. So what? I'm not going to tell you what's come out. Now, if you take every single piece of media you could observe from the day we talked about it, look at what has been projected to you. Now, even you are not immune to the scuttlebutt, rumors, etc. Right? You're a radio host. You're around a lot of people talking all the time. Now, what has happened in the last 4 weeks in your news? What is some drama that has been exposed to you for no apparent reason other than we'll extract the other. Well, what has been something newsworthy you've noticed since we did that show that hasn't been talked about much at all? What all of a sudden is happening all over the place? It is.
What is it, Q?
Apparently there's some UFOs in the sky. Oh my gosh, there's UFOs. Are you kidding? Okay, wait a minute.
Took that for granted.
Are you telling me there's UFOs here? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. What about weather balloons? Oh my gosh, so dangerous. Now, how stupid could we actually be? Now I'm judging everything. Now, Q, you're judging. We're not that stupid. We know this is a game of some kind. Okay, what is the game? Okay, so why would you need a weather balloon to go spy on another? Come on, you can see you're getting. There's some gamemanship going on for all of us. There's some gamemanship. We're actually making fun of the whole thing is a cartoon show now.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what do we get to do with this? Use it as a measurement. So a means to observe how there is projections into your reality to have you go create the reality. So have you been to Antarctica, Jane?
Yeah.
How do you know it exists?
There you go. Here we go. Yeah, obviously.
Okay, end of story, right?
Right.
Now, if I can get you to believe it exists, and God, Jane, wants it to exist, did Antarctica get there before you, or did Jane create Antarctica? Fairly interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so now it's our belief, not our knowledge, that's been written down in the books, that there are places in Antarctica that have not been discovered and no man has been there. So I'll ask the world again, if no one's been there and you live on a spherical planet, then how would you actually know how big your planet is?
Exactly.
How would you know if you're going around in circles here? Couldn't you be going around in circles on a flat planet? Or is your planet so big that your area is perceived as flat?
Indeed.
Because the planet could be a lot bigger now, couldn't it?
Correct.
These are questions, not statements.
Right.
Yet, does Antarctica exist, Jane? How do we know? Now, that was the purpose of creating these timelines, because this is what I'm gleaning for, is there's some incredibly intelligent people that get to travel and they know the answers to this. And there's tremendous volume of people who have been off planet that are on your planet. Correct. And the quick is up. And right. So this is what I want to encourage everybody, regardless of what steering is done. And as much as I tell you to put down your phone, you just can't help it, because you're going to go to the grocery store and you're going to see Life magazine talking about probably the Kennedys one more time. Who knows? There is an opportunity now. No matter what happens, it only exists when you create from your heart. All of this is illusionary if you were to look at yourself from the outside in. You're creating every single thing, whether it's negative or positive. You're the one creating your own reality, and you're playing with others, me, you, and we're creating together, aren't we? Mm-hmm. So why don't we just go play on the swing set then?
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Let's do that.
All right. Where's the swing set?
I have a question, Q.
Yep. I hope that helps a little bit, and I want to make sure others
I better take a look at the
caught on to what
here.
we were doing there.
My Q. Excuse me. I can't believe this. It's already it's 5 minutes before the hour already.
I know. I was chatty Cathy today, wasn't I?
Oh, you were marvelous. Wonderful.
Sorry. I have to stay on topic, or I'll forget it. Of course. Let's finish out then. Is that okay?
Oh, I think that would be superb.
Of course.
Of course, you are absolutely superb. Thank you so much for everything, Q. All of the time. I mean, we have learned, there are no words, enormously, but that's not even enough to say thank you from the very bottom of all of our hearts for your calls.
Well, I'm just so excited about the future, the projects that are coming out, the people creating these projects. Their ideas are fabulous. You folks know who I'm talking about. Quick message to my couple brothers, rock hounds in the greater Salt Lake area, call into me. Need to catch up with you. May I finish with a couple words real quick?
Just real quick. Oh, hold on a second. Another word, Q. I just wanted to let everybody know, so I know everybody is listening, that in regards to the one-on-ones, those are going to be on hold for now. And there are a couple of people, that still want to be able to get a hold of you. And, again, don't create the timeline so that you feel frustrated and angry about what hasn't been done yet, etc. Stay present and just stay focused on the now. Don't worry about Q. Q is always going to be with us, as he's already said so. So I think with that, anything going forward with Q, you will get some information directly from me. So we'll go from there, and go ahead, take over, Q.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait to get the one-on-ones going again. They're so much fun, and we'll make a better avenue for everyone as we go along here. And we will receive more light right now. Prime creation, prime creator, prime creation. Increase all life force energies now. Prime creation, prime creator, prime creation. Increase all life force energy now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, so it will be. Thank you, Jane. Can't wait till we do it again.
Thank you so much, Q. Beautiful. Thank you. All right, that is all for today, everyone. So please go ahead and re-listen to this call and other previous ones. You know, we're again, I don't want to say in debt. No, we're not going to go there. But we are ever so blessed to have Q here with us. And of course, you can also listen to our Zora calls, you know, as well, and learn more from Zora and Zorea. So with that being said, good day, good night, and have yourselves a wondrous and glorious and loving day.